I'm not scared of my life because, to be honest, I have only one life. I love the way that I scared that regime. I don't have guns and bullets. You see that I'm a very tiny woman. I'm even cold here. I couldn't protect myself from cold here. But look, they're scared of me. They're scared of me, and that's why they send people here to kill me. So that gives me power, And there is no difference between my life and the life of teenagers in Iran. I see that teenagers posting on their social media and saying that I'm not sure whether I'm gonna come back home or not. Oh my God. When teenagers are getting killed, I go to their social media and I read their posts. Some of them post on their story unbelievably brave, saying that this might be the last day of my life, but the good day will come. Maybe I'm not alive. You laugh on behalf of me. I see that teenagers writing on their social media that this land, Iran didn't give me anything, but I give my life, my head to free this land from mullahs. These are not me saying that. Teenagers writing these words and going to the streets and facing guns and bullets. Then you tell me, what is different between me and them? I see them and I tell myself, I have only one life. I don't want to live like miserable and being scared and live in paranoia. No. My heroes are women of Iran, men in Iran, facing guns and bullets and saying that we're not gonna live under humiliation. So that's why I'm not scared of my life.
So when you talk about the Iranian political state post-revolution, post-1979, you describe a society that sounds like the radical leftist caricature of Western society, right? It's intensely patriarchal, it's extremely misogynistic, it's anti-woman, it's repressive, it's hierarchical. All the power is aggregated into the hands of a very small minority of people. And that's the reality on the ground in Iran. And that's not the reality in the US and in the Western world, but the West is often accused of that. What sort of response have you got from the progressive side of the political spectrum in the US in relationship to the sorts of claims that you're making about the Iranian state?
To be honest, it was a long road. We passed the time that we've been ignored for years and years. For years and years, the progressive and left were quite lost. When I was saying that compulsory hijab is not part of our culture. When I was saying that as a woman who grew up under Sharia laws, I have the right to be scared of Islamic ideology. For years and years, I have been ignored by many people in the West saying that you're causing Islamophobia when you talk about compulsory hijab. But to be honest, now, because of the bravery of Iranian people within the society making awareness, finally, I see that the media, left, liberal, progressive, celebrities, feminists, finally, are hearing us. Finally, we are being heard. I mean, recently when I saw that CNN covered the story of Iran's new revolution, exposing that how women are getting raped in prison, I was sitting in my house watching the news. I was crying, but at the same time, I was really proud that finally my people in Iran made the whole world to hear them, to understand that this is a feminist revolution being supported by men in Iran, and the Western liberal, the Western feminists are paying attention to this, finally. So I really appreciate that now, especially when I see that because of the pressure from celebrities, from media, from activists, from feminists, finally, the leaders of democratic countries are changing their tone as well. But of course we need more. Of course we need actions. Now all we see that Biden administration are changing their tone. They actually took the leadership to kick out the Islamic Republic from United Nations top women body. And I was like sitting in my house and I was like, wow, this is happening. This is happening. Because just 2 years ago, when 4 democratic countries voted for the Islamic Republic to have a seat on women's top body at the United Nations, we, the women of Iran, were alone. We're alone. We were shocked. We were like, how come you're voting for a country that do not even allow women to be their true self? Just being our true self is a crime. And you're voting for our oppressors to monitor women's rights globally? It's like voting for Taliban to monitor human rights globally. But now, it's just unbelievable that the US government took leadership to kick out the Islamic Republic from United Nations top what. But this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning.
Well, so
we need more.
Well, so there's a couple of mysteries there. I mean, one you just pointed to. We can expand on that a little bit. I mean, I don't know if there's anything more preposterous that's happened internationally, although that's a hard contest, than the UN's decision to appoint Iran or to allow Iran to have a permanent seat, hypothetically permanent seat, on the international body that was fundamentally responsible for the monitoring and regulation, let's say, of women's rights. So we have a mystery there. It's like that's so utterly preposterous that it's almost impossible to believe that the West ever agreed to it to begin with. And then we have another mystery underneath that, which is that it's been an uphill battle for you and for the people who are fighting for freedom in Iran to convince the more progressive end of the spectrum, including Western feminists, that the regime that you're fighting against has all the hallmarks of the terrible patriarchy that hypothetically they oppose. And so what in the world is the reason that, well, first of all, that there's been this pro-Iranian mullah sentiment in the West, which is almost completely incomprehensible. And then allied with that, this completely, what would you call it, willful blindness on the part of Western feminists for like 30 years with regards to the crimes against women that had been occurring in Iran. Like, how do you account for that?
I mean, it was heartbreaking for me. Not for me, for women in Afghanistan right now. Right now. Girls are being kicked out from school just because of being girls. Women are being kicked out from university. But still, we don't see in the West, like,